He certainly will be offered a supermax extension by the Bucks this offseason, and his decision to sign it or not will be one of the most interesting storylines to follow. So, Paul, we'll take a look at some of the projected contract figures here. There's a lot of coin there. But do you believe Giannis should sign the supermax?
Listen, the supermax is 200 and what? Man, without question, you play all your life to get to this point to say you can secure that type of money for generations of your family. Yes, you do it. At first, I know he's competitive. He wants to win a championship, but a championship is not guaranteed, ladies and gentlemen. You can say, I'm going to go here, sign for less, for a chance to win a championship and never win. But this guaranteed contract in your face, $221 million, that's guaranteed right there. You got to take that.
Jackie?
That's a very interesting approach, and I understand where you're coming from 100%. But if I'm Giannis, I've been loyal to the Milwaukee Bucks. I've told them I intend on being with them, but I also have one more year before I have to make this seismic decision. Now, I understand the danger of injury. That's something that hangs over all players' heads, and Paul can speak to that, of course, much better than I can. But if I'm Giannis, I'm keeping all my options open, and I'm going to do my very best to win a championship for the Bucks again next season, and then I'm going to make the biggest decision of my life.
I'm with you, Jackie. Granted, injury is always a factor here, but you've bet on yourself to this point, right? I feel like you need to continue betting on yourself. And, Paul, championships aren't guaranteed, but neither is his talent. And I don't think that anyone should take that for granted. He's still a player who's growing. He's still a player who can get better, and he's already a two-time MVP. So I think if you're him, you've got kind of the deck stacked in your favor. So you should be putting pressure on the Milwaukee Bucks and that organization to surround you with the best talent possible.
Well, they're going to try to do that anyway. I mean, come on. We got a generational talent. They're going to try to get better. But like I said, 220.
But, they traded Malcolm Brogdon, Paul. That's not, to me, that's a team that's looking to cut some corners a little bit. If I'm Giannis, I'm not happy about that. I'm still not happy about it.
Where can he go? Where can he really go and guarantee a championship? Come on.
As a free agent, Jackie, I'm sure there's a number of spots, right?
Yeah, let's start with the Miami Heat. And, I think everything that Giannis decides has an effect on every other team in the league. For instance, Bam Adebayo is up for a very lucrative extension in Miami, and I'm sure they're going to take care of him. But let's talk about, some other these free agents. Are the Miami Heat going to go out and get them this year? Or are they going to save all their money and all their cap space for next year when they have a shot at Giannis?
Well, what I can say is, and I'm not reporting anything, so don't aggregate me. What I can say is, knowing the history of one Patrick Riley, he likes to go big or go home. So my assumption is he will find a way to remain as competitive as they were this past season, while also keeping that cap space for the big whale in someone like Giannis Antetokouonmpo. All right, so as the reigning MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year, players like Giannis don't come around too often, as we've discussed. So, Jackie, our Tim Bontemps reports that the Bucks don't plan to trade Giannis even if he doesn't sign the extension. Is that something they should consider, though?
I wouldn't, and I think Tim's reporting spot on here. I think that ownership group says, okay, if he doesn't sign that supermax extension, we've got to make our team different. We've got to make it better. We need to exploit the pick and roll better. We need to go out and get personnel that will help us do that. We need to get players that will space the floor. That's why you keep hearing Chris Paul's name associated with the Milwaukee Bucks, because he really would help them in many of those things I just discussed, not to mention that he's still one of the top defenders in the league, even at his age. So I think the Bucks, if he doesn't sign it, if Giannis doesn't sign it, and I don't believe that he will, I think you're going to see them go out and make a big deal.
Yeah, I'm in the same lane as Jackie. You don't trade a generational talent like that. You try to work it out. You try to get better internally or through trade, and just play your cards and see what happens. Who knows? What if they win a championship that year? I believe he signs a long-term deal.
Right.
Even if they don't, they'll have the summer. Maybe they can search for a sign and trade if he says, I'm not coming back. But there's no way I'm moving early on this if he doesn't sign an extension.
And let's just say that the worst-case scenario happens, right, and that he does leave for another team. If you're the Bucks, you can always just say, hey, He left us. We didn't trade him. If you trade him, I think the fan base turns against you, Jackie, don't they?
Oh, 100%. And remember, too, I consider Giannis a very genuine person when he says that he wants to make it work in Milwaukee. He has a great relationship with the ownership group. Obviously, is very close with Mike Budenholzer. So when he says that, he means it. And these guys, they're on the clock now to do something to reinvent that team a little bit, because I think Chris Middleton, as a number 2, that's a lot to ask of him. I think he's much better suited to be your top number 3 guy instead. So if you just think if you could add someone like Chris Paul, and I don't know if that's going to happen, but boy, that would really help some of the problems that they have.
And you got to wonder if they have the assets to really upgrade. You know, you have Chris Middleton, Bledsoe, guys like Hill, but you have to wonder. It'll be difficult to try to upgrade. When you add in, like, say, a Chris Paul, who's another year older, who has a huge contract. Is it going to be worth it? And so you have to ask yourself. So, who knows what's going to happen with the Bucks on trying to get better.
Yeah, if it ends up winning a championship, then it'll be all worth it. I don't think there's any question about it. You have to go all in when you have a player like that. The window is too small.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.